We'll see if they could decide to go high ground or low ground here. We have Reinhardt taking the front. It looks like Mob Mentality is having trouble getting out of the doorway, and they do suffer one loss. Might look like they have to get out of this. Radegast pushing up, trying to get some momentum going against Mob Mentality. Good job keeping the Reinhardt alive. The Reaper diving the Reinhardt, trying to get out, using his phase. There might be an opportunity to punish Radegast against his play, and it looks like Radegast was torn between pushing objective or committing to the team fight, which Guru ends up getting a double kill. Twiz using that shield to help his hit scans, and Mob Mentality will take first point. So a little bit of a mistake on Radegast's part. I feel like half of them went in for the Reinhardt dive. Maybe their team didn't communicate as well. Other half went for the objective. Guru getting picked, but Nalri coming in with the res. Twiz needs to be careful, he has no shield left. Cypher taking up an advantage position. Cypher does have whole hog. Fortunate mishook right there. And the hit scan's taking position on the bridge, kind of letting the front line zone out a little bit. Radegast is Reinhardt. Guru's ulti comes in, sound barrier, try to protect. Big Earth Shatter from Twiz. And we see a nano hog ulti. Got one player, didn't see much else, and now Cypher needs to be careful here not to fall out of position. Twiz trying to get out. Twiz doesn't really have any backup either. A little bit of a slow wipe on Mob Mentality side. They're going to have to force to re-engage. Good job on Nauri getting out. And Earth Shatter coming in big. Nice hook by Cypher. Not sure if Mob's aware of the soldier on high ground. Don't know if that's going to be a threat or not. It seems like Slush is aware. We do have Bob ready. We also have Visor. Another quick Visor coming from Guru. I actually think the Visor actually might have been Expansion's Visor in the previous fight, so maybe this is Guru's first Visor. Looks like Mob's going to try and take this route. They didn't take it the first time, but they used Bob to initiate. They need to push out of this doorway. Visor comes in. Zarya's absorbing a lot of the damage. Immortality comes out. Frontline, unfortunately, does collapse. And that's going to be a wipe for Mob Mentality. Support's trying to get out. Slosh unable to make it out. And this is going to be a hard reset. I feel like the top left isn't exactly working. They might have to readjust their strategy here. Maybe go into something a little bit more brawly, but they do have 48%. So all they need is one team fight to really go their way, but they need to understand whether or not they're going to take this top left. Looks like they're going to opt to go bottom right. Guru does go to the McCree, hopefully to help with that shield burst, and we do swap to a Tracer. So trying to address Flash Dark and Expansion's ultimate. Oh, the Reaper ult does come in behind. They do get the Reaper, but the damage is already done, so there's going to be another reset. They got 90%, so this needs to be a quick assault. Let's see if Slush can touch. It's going to be a tricky save. He might be able to make it in time. But Radegast is going to be able to stop him. So the first point does go to Radegast. The Reaper ultimate did stop them from recontesting second point. And that was a good play on their part, for Radegast's part, to just kind of deny Mob from being able to contest the second point again. So let's see what Mob brings to the table in point 2. Does Guru make the shot? And he does. MVP. For the record, I can never make those. I don't think I've ever made one of those. So Slush does opt to go Mei Reinhardt comp here, so this might address some of the issues with the Reaper frontline brawl. So let's see if this strategy can work effectively. Reinhardt, and we do get a pick. It is a 1-for-1, however. Reaper is a threat. Reaper is down on the side of Radegast. There's a soldier behind as well. Slush trying to address it. Guru buffs him off. And it doesn't look like this team fight's going to go Mob Mentality's way. They're going to have to disengage and restart. Or at least wipe so that they can come back together. Twiz trying to get out and barely escapes. Good healing by Nauri. Twiz very low. He's got to be careful here. Nice job playing smart. Playing the angles, letting his healers do his job. A lot of damage coming down the front line. So we're going to see how they're going to be able to push through this. Twiz might be able to get his Earthshatter here. Window does come out from the enemy Radegast and immediately drops Twiz. Riptire coming from Guru. Riptire does pick off the Reaper. Now we're going in for the big res. Mob's back in the fight. Can they make something happen? Very good counter ult coming out from Radegast. That might turn the tide, but Mob's fighting the good fight. And that fight will go to the way of Mob Mentality. So I immediately thought that the timing of Choco Milk's ult with the Zen was pretty on point, and I would have guessed that that might have flipped the script. But I think a lot of damage coming in from Cypher now that he is fully stacked is going to be hard to counteract. So Mob doing a good job defending against that counter ulti to kind of shut down what they were trying to do. Looking to set up, you have plenty of options. I think Mob should be able to hold this for the next two pushes if they organize their ultimates correctly. You could probably stop a push with a grab, stop a push with a Mei ult, maybe combine it with an Earthshatter afterwards. They do need to do this quickly and make sure nobody gets picked off. So timing is critical here. Okay, Freeze comes out first. Cypher in a little bit of trouble. Twiz actually does get popped. So Cypher had a little bit of focus on the soldier, but because of the focus on the soldier, it seems like Twiz was able to get shut down. Slush trying his best with the Mei ult. So they still got plenty on board right now. They still got plenty of ultis to make a team fight. They can either keep staggering their ultimates, or they can just commit all at once to for sure take the point. It's really up to what the team decides. It's going to be the best play for them. So opting going down the middle again with a strategy. Window does come out. Twiz does need to be careful because last time he did pay for this. Looks like they're being a lot more cautious about it now. They're expecting a little bit more going left. Radegast Black is rotating to address the rotation. Ulti from Grab comes out from Cypher. Support ult comes out. It seems like the Earthshatter was used. Earthshatter was used by Sunset. It seemed like it got interrupted mid. So Mob Mentality is able to secure the point back, but they're not able to lose any team fights here. They need to hold the fight all the way through. Still got plenty of at least one ultimate, maybe a Mei ult if they're lucky, but they're probably going to have to stagger their ultimates with the Earthshatter and the Mei ult, so it is going to come in clutch here. All eyes are on Twiz to hopefully set this up for his team. Maywall does stall, which is great. Soldier poking left again from Radegast. Freeze coming in. Mob Mentality needs to take advantage of this. They need to win this fight. Earthshatter is used. Good pick from Twiz. Power play is in Mob Mentality's defense. They should wipe this team, but I can kind of see the call of why they don't want to. There is a lot of long-range characters, but they are going to get a regroup. Radegast is going to get a regroup. So what ultis does Radegast have to use against Mob? Twiz goes down. And unfortunately, it looks like Mob is actually going to end up losing that fight. They're going to fight the good fight, but it just seems with Gen alive, there's really nobody left to help contest. So from that perspective, and I don't think there's going to be time for recontest. It's going to be too late for Mob to make an impact. So Radegast will take game one of Nepal. And honestly, the first map in that point, it seemed like Mob Mentality itself had their own vision of how they wanted things to go. But definitely, and again, Choco Milk will play the game. I mean, that's probably going to be after the counter ult during that one match. That was actually the last play of the game. So Chalky Milk coming up big, especially with the Discords. Seems like there's a lot of communication on their end, being able to wipe it out. But I really think had Mob pressured in round 2 of Nepal to not let the enemy team force the recontest, it was kind of a 50-50 gamble on their part if it worked out. In hindsight, they probably could have pushed to not allow Reinhardt to come back. The odds were in their favor to win that team fight of a 5v6, and so allowing the enemy Reinhardt to reposition in time for them to disengage and then re-engage might have been, you know, the final straw. Map number 2, CGL preseason week. Right now the score is 0-1 in favor of Radegast Black. They were able to take the series of Nepal, and a pretty good showing from both teams. I'm expecting Mob to kind of rally up and get some, at least a map under their belt. I know with the payload maps, they feel a lot more comfortable in some of the payload comps that we've been working on. So I'm interested to see what Mob brings to the table. Radegast, I would expect the Zen to come out again. I believe Choco Milk. I'm sorry. Yes, Choco Milk is the one who was kind of the starlight of the game last game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Zen under the belt again to kind of counteract a lot of the Zarya grabs. Honestly, Zarya grab is one of the best ultimate abilities that you can use to set up your team, as long as you time it correctly and get the, you know, maybe if there's not an enemy diva that they need to worry about to counter her, you know, eating the grab. So I would expect the Zen to come through. It's just kind of a universal counter ult to help protect your team. And the way Choco Milk's been using it this game has been pretty effective. But we'll see. The Reinhardt Zarya on Radegast's side is also very strong. So it's going to be nice to see Twiz and Capra kind of address those strong players on Radegast and see what they can do to try and outsmart or outplay each other. So it seems like Guru's electing to go with a little bit more Reaper route. Slush on the Tracer. We also have Moira and Lucio. Pretty standard comp. Fire Strike coming through the mid. And there is a pick against AK. Expansion getting a really nice headshot off of it. So Mob's going to slow things down for a little bit. Let's see if Radegast decide to push. Mob's a little bit separate. I don't know if they're ready for this push. So it seems like Radegast is going to maybe wanted to push that, but maybe decided not to. We'll see how things continue. But a really nice headshot coming through the side of Radegast against a Hanzo. Flash Dark able to pick up Slush, so there's another enemy, or at least a teammate down. Side of Mob, now the push is coming through. Mob needs to be careful. It looks like that's going to be another wipe. Capra needs to decide if she's going to sit here or just take the wipe. If she decides to sit here, she needs to at least make it back. The stagger is going to be pretty wide, and it looks like she's going to elect for the stagger.
Just like in training.
Alright, so it looks like we're all good. We had an adjustment for one of the off tanks on Mob Mentality. We were having some connection issues, so we're going to resume back. No time for a DJ break. Sorry, AK. So a little bit of a momentum slow for Mob. Let's see if they can rally up, get past this choke. Twiz taking quite a few damage. This healer's able to get him up. An expansion again, hitting another very nice headshot. Dragon coming through and immediately going to be a wipe. Expansion playing extremely well with those headshots. I wouldn't be surprised if that was play of the game. That was a very nice place, Dragon. It seems like he's making use of playing behind the Reinhardt shield and getting those headshots when it matters. Pretty tough call on the side of Mob. They're going to have to come up with something to address the expansion, because that's about the second time that he's been able to stop a push on their side. So Mob just needs to get enough to just hopefully, you know, get some ult charge going, get some, you know, maybe if it's a new tactic, maybe it's a new route, something that they can do to get under their belt. Okay, so Moira ult coming out. Jen Nowry also, but High Noon from behind on the high ground. Don't know if that's going to stop. It looks like it's going to be Twiz and Cypher both get a kill. But unfortunately, there's nobody left on Mob to be able to respond. This might be the final push, but if they make it quick, it could be two. It's looking like it might be the final one. Twiz does have an Earth Shatter to work with. 60 seconds remaining. A lot of ultis are going to be coming online in this next team fight, so I think Mob just needs to commit and throw everything in the kitchen sink. They can't afford to hold any ults. They need to make this their last fight. Radegast a little bit probably light on ultis, maybe one remaining. But the majority of it being used. Dragon coming through. Slush gets a double kill. Grab coming out, but a counter dragon. Immediate ult coming out. A huge Lucio ult inside of Mob Mentality. Two players also picked off on Mob. Cypher alive. Cypher drops. Bob coming from Slush. Guru trying to touch. Bob keeping it alive. AK keeping it alive. Anything could happen in these last few seconds. Guru having trouble touching. Twiz able to stall for a little bit longer. Cypher switching to the ball. High Noon coming in. High Noon's going to mop up the tanks on the side of Mob Mentality. Can Jen touch? Jen also touches. Nowry going in. But immediately wiped. AK dancing around, see if he can get some time for his team. A good effort by Slush, but not able to make it in time. So the side of Radegast is definitely playing with those shields. Getting the Hanzo headshots definitely threw a wrench in Mob Mentality's kind of pursuit, I think, of trying to get the upper hand in aggression level. I think that's something that they just hadn't seen in the previous round, and it was something that was a little bit unexpected that threw them for a loop. But really, really good plays on expansions. I'd like to see that dragon again, because it was a very well-placed dragon down the center while we were pushing, going up from the both sides. Obviously, a great performance from their team. So let's see if Mob can at least hold them for a 0-0 tie. You know, it's going to be a tall order, but I also don't think it's impossible. I definitely think that if they decide to go the right team comp, they will be able to stop and at least not give up any point deficits in this map. Otherwise, it's going to be going to an 0-2 off the side of Radegast.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
I'll be busy soon enough. A lot of armor. I guess you are a pretty big target.
Hey, good
Hey.
Hello.
5, 4, 3,
So we're starting the next round.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend
DPS is looking almost at a similar comp. Trying to adjust the Hanzo pressure. One thing Radegast has been very good at is kind of deflecting all of Twiz's damage of his shield and just getting it so focused so that Twiz has difficulties, but there is a push. Mob needs to take advantage of this. But they're going to let him disengage. So a nice hook by Cypher. Good job by Cypher catching Chocolate out of position. Chocolate was a little bit overextended as his team was calling back, but I really think Mob could kit a little bit more. They're going to choose to let the team at least regroup. Another pick. Great picks by Slush. So it seems Mob is doing a good job getting these picks without really committing to the team fight. That's something that we hadn't seen in the map before. Almost another hook from Cypher. Jen doing a good job keeping the tanks healed up. Jen gets hooked from the right. Nowry down. So there is a healer down on the side of Mob Mentality. Can AK keep all of his team healthy and alive before this push happens? Window again coming through. Damage is doing the best they can. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Guru falling in the inside. AK trying to take up the slack. Cypher trying to use his ulti. Might be too much damage. Doing a good job. Cypher barely staying alive. AK doing a great job keeping his tank alive. It's a great time to ulti. I really think that. I think Cypher was about 50 health from dying. And this team fight is going to go to Mobs. That looked a little contentious right there. That didn't look like it was going to go Mobs' way, but I think a pick from Guru and also a hook from Cypher and a great pocket from AK just really helps. I really like this Mercy on this part of the point because AK knows that they need to stop them in their tracks, and without that res to give you extra time to help your, without having your team come back, that could be the difference between a failed team fight or a win or a stop for them. Wow, the crazy bombs coming in from expansion on the Junkrat. Unfortunately, picking off Guru. Does AK have a res ready for him? And I think the answer is no. Slush taking out expansion, so it's to DPS for DPS. Cypher needs to be careful, he'll get hooked. Immortality coming out from Nauri. A really, really huge immortality. Slush also picking up the kills. Let's take a look a little bit at Slush. Seems like Slush is doing a good job keeping his team at bay. Personally, I think Ashe is one of the best DPSs for Blizzard World, at least on all parts. I mean, it's hard to argue that Ashe wouldn't be a good pick at any point in Blizzard World. There's just so much high ground for her to use. Slush getting up another pick on Dark. So Mob's doing a good job. If they can keep this up for one more minute, they can at least hold for a tie. And that's something that prevents them and hopefully goes to Game 5 to erase the Game 1 that we saw earlier. Slosh does have a Bob. Twiz does have Earthshatter. So things are looking good, but the question is what does Radegast have in store for Mob? What should they be expecting right now in terms of ults to either engage or start the team fight?
Just point me in the right direction.
Mob just needs to let them set the pace. Good deflect, kind of boosting away. Ulti coming in. Is that coming for DPS? Is it Ghost for Nauri? Bob coming in to kind of stall. Guru gets a pick. Slush rotating around. AK healing, but Twiz has no healing. Twiz does get pocketed in the end. Bob buys enough time. But you do have a DPS down on the side of Mob. Twiz does fall. Cypher playing a little bit around the corner, but is that going to be enough? Cypher falling, and it looks a little bit too late for Mob to be able to come back into this. AK doing his best, but unfortunately does fall. Slush stalling out the point, buying his team as much time, but unfortunately he doesn't touch. That was a tall order. Radegast does take map 2 of Blizzard World. Play the game will most likely be the dragon that we saw earlier from Duddy. Let's see that one more time. I mean, this dragon just kind of says it all. I mean, what a crazy hit just to get off of that. Perfectly placed dragon. Team goes and initiates. So we've seen two players consistently kind of bring the game, so to speak, against Mob. And so it's up to Mob to kind of counter and see what can they do to shut down Choco, kind of deflecting all of these ultis that they're throwing, and also expansion just turning up in the time that his teams needs them to. So we're going to get set up for game 3. And we'll see what happens. Map is going to be Volskaya, map 3. Alright, we are starting map 3 of Volskaya. We're going to have Mob Mentality on defense first. Radegast attacking. So far for CGL preseason week, we have with Mob Mentality 0-2 against Radegast. Radegast looking to take map 3. So it's really up to Mob to keep them in the fight, to come up with a strategy to hopefully address some of the issues that Radegast has been putting forth to Mob Mentality. I believe Choco has been subbed out. So we have Amalu and Dead Pollo joining the team for Radegast. So will we see more expansions, Hanzo? We will take a look momentarily. So we'll see where Mob decides to defend the point. Are they going to play choke? Are they going to play a little bit forward back? Electing to use a little bit of the soldier. So we'll see if Mob can do it. Will Radegast take the set 0-3? Or is this the game where Mob starts to make their comeback?
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
So Mob looking to elect to play the choke. Radegast coming out with an Ashe. And Cypher needs to be careful. He's a little bit out of position, but Slush gets a pick off the Ana. One of Radegast's players is in far right, technically separate, but does Mob want to commit to fighting? Cypher does get another pick, so there's 2 fights in the team. 2 people down on the side of Radegast. Mob is able to pick up a third. And Slosh doing very well with this Ashe throughout the majority of the sets. I mean, we saw Slush come up with his Bob. We saw a little bit of focus fire. It seems like coming through with Guru and Slush being able to focus their targets out at the same time. You can kind of see a little bit of it right here. So Sombra from behind. Amalu getting killed. AK coming in with a save to kind of help his DPSs out. Doing a great job from AK to keep everybody healthy. Nauri as well putting the the healing orb on the correct targets that Radegast is kind of focusing. Cypher is slept. Twiz protecting him with the shield. I noticed Cypher likes to get a little bit aggressive, but he needs to be careful not to pay for it too much. Not, especially since they have the Sombra to stop him from healing. Slush again getting another pick. The DPS of Mob's turning up, making a great play. Focusing the shield, Sigma shield down. And another pick from Slosh. Another great pick from Slosh with the damage boost coming in from AK. The tank's doing a good job. So it seems like Radegast needs to figure out how to shut Slush down. Very, very different from maybe what Radegast was expecting. We'll take a couple minutes to spectate Slush. He is holding on to this Bob, so the question is when is he going to use it? Is he going to use it a little bit preemptively? Now it looks like Radegast goes into a counter for Slush, which is going to be the Widow. A very good ultimate coming from Nauri. AK coming in with a res on Slush. Cypher might need a backup, and so does Twiz. Mob Mentality playing a little bit forward. Guru going to the high ground. Bob should come out pretty soon if the team decides to commit. Slush doesn't want to die here. But Slush also playing careful. Big Earth Shatter coming from Twiz. Twiz going in. Guru coming in with a visor. And this should be an easy fight. Flash Dark doing a good job contesting Slush. The Mob knows where the Widow is. Are they going to be able to get out here? On the side of Radegast. It looks like Dark is going to fall. And Elenise is also going to fall with him, so a little bit of a stagger on Radegast. And Mob is going to reset. So a much different strategy than we saw out coming from Mob. Again, Slush is a little bit more comfortable, I feel. Kind of countering, also with Guru's help to support with the DPS. So there's a lot more focus fire coming through on the side of Mob Mentality, and you can definitely see it. It was there a little bit in map 2. But I think it's dialed down map 3, so this is a do or die time for Mob, and they're going particularly well. Double Bobs come out at the same time. Is it going to get anything for anyone? It looks like the Bobs might just counter each other. There's a Battle Mercy coming out to get Slush off a high ground, but a double kill coming through. Killing Elenu, Sunset, Omalu, Deadpalu. Nauri does fall during the team fight, but AK might be able to get Nauri. AK going to resurrect Guru instead, but Slush does fall here. So this is a be careful situation for Mob. They have lost Slush, who was kind of the answer to stopping the push. Now is the push going to come through? Can Guru rise up to the occasion to shut down before Slush comes back? Radegast looking to take this fight quick. Tank's playing in the middle center to contest point. Guru almost has Visor, but can Twiz survive long enough for him to get Visor? A double kill coming in from Sunset. Visor coming up for Guru. Is he going to pop it or is he going to save it? Looks like he's going to elect to save it. And unfortunately, Mob isn't able to hold him on the first map. Point 1 of Volskaya. It was very close though. It was particularly close in the very end stages. And Radegast pushing actually pretty aggressively through this choke, and I don't know if Mob's ready to set up to fight them on this. Seems like they're already establishing on high ground. If they get this pick on Cypher, it's going to be in trouble. The team stagger might come through sooner than Mob's ready, and is this going to make the difference for them securing point 2? Very good hook. The Hogs trade out, which is kind of beneficial. Twiz is able to get out of the way, but if he comes through, now he does use the ultimate. Earthshatter's hopefully coming through. Twiz might not need to use it, but he's holding on to it. Twiz playing very smart. Bob coming through. Twiz not wanting to throw too many ultis in his team fight. But if he loses, he might wish he had. So it's kind of a tricky situation, but he does have healing. AK doing a good job keeping his Reinhardt up. Cypher seeking out the Ana. Cypher does need a little bit of peel on his side. Is able to get out. Twiz does pin. And it's going to be mop up a little bit for Radegast. Twiz is in kind of a predicament here. He's able to get out effectively. I would have thought Twiz might have gone against that Reinhardt. Reinhardt all by himself, and Radegast kind of safely getting out. Twiz almost gets punished for it. And the Reinhardt does end up falling. Omalu will have to take a trick back to the spawn, and another hook coming in through Twiz. So Ashen is back. He needs to be careful here. Guru doing a great job helping getting the peel off of his tanks. Valkyrie ready on the side of AK. Twiz still has his Earth Shatter he's holding on to, so a lot of ultis coming in through the Mob Mentality. Radegast almost had that first push. I feel like if they had committed a little bit more, they tried to get Mob off staggered, but I think Mob did a good job. Twiz playing very patient, very calm, able to see when he needs to use his ulti, when not. A really big counter roll coming in through Cypher, bouncing up the Reinhardt before he's able to hit that Earth Shatter. So that's a big momentum swift, I think, for Cypher, especially shutting down that Reinhardt ulti. Isn't able to get the hook on Elanuz. Elanuz might be able to get out of here. Guru starting with the chase. Can Guru mop up? And unfortunately, Elanuz does get out. 60 seconds remaining for Radegast, and another pick on Sunset. Slosh taking the high ground, abusing that high ground. I think Slush got lucky a little bit with the Widow, but it seems like they have just let Slush continue being Slush. I mean, the Widow was the only counter that Radegast had against Slush, and now they're just letting him get away kind of for free. So Slush definitely punishing AK, boosting his teammate up, because Slush is just really on fire right now, stopping his team in this spot. Sound barrier coming through, so Nauri does pop the Zen ult. Bob should be used. There it is, to help slow the momentum down. Is this going to be a repeat of Mob losing the last couple seconds here when they've been dominant throughout the whole series? Let's see. Everyone kind of going off point, so that leaves the question, who's protecting Cypher? AK coming on the res of Cypher, which is big. AK very good at getting out tight situations, making those big reses and then getting out. Is Mob able to hold overtime? Cypher is asleep on point. Guru making a pick. Nauri also making a pick. 3 down on the side of Radegast, and it seems like Mob has this safely under control. Earthshatter coming in, and it's not going to be enough. So Mob is able to hold it to a 1-point lead. I believe no ticks on the side of Radegast, so Mob needs to come up, take the first point quick, and then if they're able to, either get the quick push like Radegast attempted on their own side, but hopefully be dominant enough to take a good team fight and get established enough for 1 tick and bring this up to at least a game map 4. If Mob does not take this, then Radegast will take the set. So again, the pressure's on Mob. I can't explain how crazy it is that Slush is just getting away with a lot of these power plays, just consistently hitting those shots where he needs to, and the support from AK and the orbs coming in from Nauri are just help supplementing his lead. So I think on Radegast's side, the question for you is what happened on the round set 2. In round set 1, you addressed the counter by switching to Widow because you knew it was a hard target to lock down Slush. But as soon as they took down that first part, again, they did not commit to the Widow no longer, and they just let Slush continue to be Slush. So I wouldn't expect Radegast to make that same mistake on defense. I think they need to actually take Slush seriously, and I think he is the one to kind of shut down in terms of how are we going to control the map outcome? Can we stop that? So all eyes are going to be on Slush. All eyes are going to be on expansion, and also, Dead Pollo to kind of really bring more energy to their attacking side. It's been a great set so far, so we'll continue on and let's see what happens. Slush immediately taking high ground with that pocket. It doesn't look like Radegast is going to be playing choke. They're going to play a little bit further. Radegast running the counter comp. Slush winning the 1v1. And they both wipe on the both sides. A 1-for-1. AK comes in with the res. Unfortunately, the front line can't hold. But can Slush come back? Their Reinhardt Sunset a little bit overextended, but he should be able to get out in time. Nice peel coming from their enemy's Zarya. And the supports and Slush unfortunately able to make it back. So again, Radegast is doing a good job addressing the issue of Slush, and what do? They run the counter comp back. If you can't beat it, mirror it. And so they come out with their own Mercy Pocket Ashe. And so it's up to Slush and Mob Mentality as a whole to see if that's going to be enough to stop them. Nauri doing a great job shutting down that Ashe. Dead Pollo doing a great job putting his Ashe back alive, but now there's no longer a res in the works for Radegast. Looking for Mob to take high ground. Valkyrie being popped. Slush hit with that. Let's take a look at the front line to see how they're doing. Looks like shield breaks coming in. A big hook from Cypher. Earthshatter coming in, and also an anti. Cypher popping his healing when he's antied, so he might be in trouble getting out here, but AK and Slush unable to get out. AK getting out. Cypher getting out. Mob Mentality still has plenty of time to work through what's going on, farm some ultis. They're still able to be in this match. They just need to play smart. Slush has been consistently, and also we saw that pick from Nauri, putting the Discord on the Ashe and hitting the orbs. The question is do we need to take that high ground quicker so that the res is no longer an option for their side? So Mob switching it up, going top right, which is a pretty good strategy to help shut down that high ground that's being used against them. Now what is Mob going to do from here? They're going to swing right, having some viewpoint. Ana out of position on the side of Radegast, barely gets away. The Torb turret, which we haven't talked about, is a little bit of a potential problem, but it also killed. This is, I think, the 4th or 3rd res that's used. The Bob is slightly off point. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Bob's capping, which is kind of what Slush wanted. Now he needs to be careful, out of position there, but she tries to take the point, which is understandable given that the Bob wasn't able to contest, which is probably the original goal. Mob Mentality is down a healer. Radegast mirrors their strategy by taking the opposite high ground, and without the pocket, Slush isn't able to go in. Cypher pops his ultimate, whole hog, gets a kill. Molten Core comes out from the side. And this is going to be a 1v2, I believe, on the side of Mob with 60 seconds left. So they need to think about what's going to be our last recontest. They need to regroup here. Radegast is going to be looking, and a good wipe's coming in from the team. Calling that out, getting ready for that wipe. So had they not taken that wipe, they might have had another chance to regroup. So this is do or die for Mob Mentality. Again, the contest on the Ashe is there, but the reses are kind of stopping the momentum, so to speak, from Mob Mentality. Great, blasting the turret coming out from Nauri. So this is the last fight. Can Mob bring this to a game 4? Map 4. Great shield burst coming in through Mob. There is an ultimate waiting on Nauri's side, so all eyes are on her to definitely use that ulti correct. Dragon is also ready. Earthshatter might not be enough to save. A nano is coming through. And the ultimate's a little too late coming from Nauri. I don't know if this is going to be enough, but the res did come through for AK, so Twiz being alive, it does keep Mob in this. And Mob with backs against the walls, looks like they're going to take this first point in do or die situation, but they can't let their guard down. They need to be ready for anything to come through, barreling through, whether it's a ball, whether it's anybody who's deciding to recontest, but it doesn't look like Radegast is going to want to. Radegast will most likely set up. And Mob barely squeaking by there. I mean, I really thought that after the Transcendence, it wouldn't have been able for them to come back.
Commence attack on objective.
All right, and the unpause coming through, so we're all ready to start the action again. Mob Mentality looking to push through to take this, to bring this to map 4, electing to take the high ground. So again, the ulti was a little bit off on Nauri, but the res coming in from AKs, I mean, we can't deny these res that AKs have been doing on both sides, on both Mercies on both sides, to be honest. I think that the Mercies have been doing a great job staying out of position and also getting their tanks up back into the fight to help the second round to go to. Like I said, I think there has been 4 or 5 reses on the side of Slush, I'm sorry, on the side of Radegast for the opposing on Flash, and Flash does get picked off. Again, the res coming in from Pollo, like consistently like clockwork. AK doing a great job, another Valkyrie coming through. Are they going to push with this Valkyrie, though? There is a Bob. Bob going to initiate the team fight, which is a great call. Twiz looking to push, Cypher looking to push, another Bob coming up. And this is just the battle of the Bobs again. Bobs get bursted down, at least on the side of Mob Mentality. Another res coming in from AK. Torbjorn in the middle by himself. Man, some big shots. Unfortunately gets Slush. Valkyrie might be enough to stall it out. Radegast knows that they do or die for them as well. Zarya trying to do it. And Mob does end up taking Volskaya, bringing this to a 1-2. So a very good comeback coming from Mob. I would expect to play the game, maybe to go to Slush. We'll take a look to see what's going to happen. And Twiz ends up taking to play the game. Let's take a look at the action from Twiz. Great Earth Shatter to just shut down the team. Momentum goes his way, and Twiz makes a fantastic play. Rising to the occasion. Hero damage done 30% on the side of Slush. All 4 members of Mob taking the MVP slots. Yeah, and I think that just was a more consistent play overall from Mob. I think that everyone was playing to their utmost potential because they know that this was kind of the last map that they had to prove to bring it to the next game. So they need to continue this energy. They need to continue the momentum. And we're back with CGL preseason week. Mob Mentality 1, Radegast Black 2. It's been a pretty contentious fight so far. Definitely a DPS showdown, if I had to say so myself. A lot of good plays coming out, and a lot of good support plays as well. I mean, we see definitely the involvement of the support to help tip the balance in the favor of their DPSs. So continue to see a close fight. I would love to see a map number 5. Mob Mentality has the momentum right now, so can they keep it? Is Radegast going to go back to the drawing board and definitely bring something out that maybe Mob hasn't seen or isn't prepared for? So it really just comes down to Radegast and being able to stop the momentum of Mob and being able to do so effectively. If there's one thing that maybe Mob could focus on a little bit more is that it seems like they're letting a lot of the potential for kills to go after the first kill, but I mean the counter argument to that is that they have been consistently getting kills without actually committing to a team fight. So you see many times that, you know, Slush getting 1 pick off of a headshot, and then you see Guru maybe 5 or 7 seconds later also getting a kill. So it's weird that you see this different approach to how the kills are being done as opposed to maybe Radegast, who do full commit into those engagements. So we'll continue to see what happens. We have the team comp of Slush and Guru on the Hanzo and Ash. We got AK back on Mercy. Now we continue to use that Zen and Twiz and Cypher, both respectively, on the Reinhardt and the Roadhog. Radegast taking up the high ground. Hanzo Arrow kind of gives their position up. Another Ash. So Ash being used again to kind of shut down Slush to run it against them. High ground definitely a tough part. Cypher coming with a big hook against Flash. They talk about big hooks right there. That was a monumental hook. The team's still engaged in combat right now. And there is a pause coming through on the side of Radegast. We're going to get one of their players back into the action. All the teams are ready to good to go. We'll get back into the team fight. A little bit of a leg grenade. It's all good considering the team fight was over. Roadhog just says, I'll heal up later. Another big pick coming in from Guru. So, if I were Mob, I would look to punish Radegast here. The odds are in your favor. Again, what we talked about a little bit at the beginning. Slush getting those picks, and again, Mob being very consistent in not actually engaging, but still getting value. And so this is going to what's turned the tide. A big sleep from Dead Pollo. Guru coming in to mop up maybe what Slush couldn't. Slush taking a little bit of a nap, saying I'm carrying too hard. I need a break. Slush does end up falling to dark. I don't know if AK is going to want to res this. Maybe Guru will try and cover. It's a tricky situation. The AK and Slush do end up falling, but Guru does control the high ground. A Zen going up 1v1 and ending up bursting Guru. Chocolate Milk coming up big with that Zenyatta. So the tanks need to be careful here to make sure that they don't get dove on. They do have a numbers advantage. Cypher looking to take the flank, but Twiz trying to play objective. Twiz needs to be careful not to get overrun here. A big burst coming in from Nauri. All 5 orbs on target. So, I mean, as much as this is an Ashe game, I mean, this is equally a Zenyatta game as well. I mean, it's crazy to see how different, you know, how it's going. Another big hook coming in from Cypher. Omalu kind of taking the brunt of that. No stagger off the Baby Diva because she'll contest the point. Maybe can Mob look at taking this fight to the front line now. High ground still being fought over. Bursting the shield. I'm surprised that I was a little worried about Twiz fighting that front line. Now Ray end up falling. So 3 ults come out in the way. Radegast in not much. I mean, it does stop the momentum of the payload, but they did use 3 ultimates to kind of get that. So the question is now is what's going to happen. Guru at a late pick. So Mob Mentality should be looking to get out of dodge immediately, not hang around, not give them opportunity. Twiz unfortunately backing a little bit too late. Sunset. Again, those cheeky Zen plays. Cheeky Zen bursts, need to be careful. Cypher again coming up big with who needs dodge, or I'm sorry, who needs dive when you have Cypher just to hook and really not let them use this high ground effectively against you. Look at again, another hook from Cypher. Diva barely escaping on Amarasu. Sunset in trouble, Nerf coming in. And unfortunately, Omalu comes up big with the 3-man to stop the momentum, unfortunately for Mob Mentality. So this might be a complete hard stop. Battle of the Zens going on. And it looks like it's going to be a hard reset. Twiz looking to just full reset off of that. So, I mean, I had thought for a second that maybe Omalu might not have been able to get that off. I mean, he was so close to being demexed, barely living on the skin of his teeth, but then kind of using the momentum against him, kind of playing like he's hurt and then throwing in the big Diva Bomb. I mean, obviously the Zen Immortality trying to stop, but again, contentious given that the burst damage might kill you immediately, might not. The spacing might have come into a factor there. So looking at the replay, Guru is going to take high ground again from expansion. So the whole team committing to this high ground strategy, which is a very good call. There's no really need to have the high ground abused. Can they get it picked? Flash Dark. A lot of range on the side of Mob Mentality, and frankly not a ton of range on the side of Radegast. Cypher a little bit separate. He needs to be careful. Now retaking out Chocolate Milk. Guru falling dead, but the res might come in for Guru, which it does. So Cypher looking to push the payload while his team takes high ground. So the question is Radegast going to respond? Discord. Dead Pollo falls. Expansion falls once again. Another nerf coming incredibly quick. Omalu farming those nerfs pretty fast. Enough to keep his team in the fight. I don't think Radegast is out of this completely. I think they can definitely still hold this fight, which is going to be difficult, especially if Mob can't shut down this front line. Mortality comes popped out to counter the Cypher ult, the full hog. Now we might have to use the ulti here. Very good ult, but unfortunately Twiz does end up falling. So the ult was forced. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds remaining.
We have 4 ultis on the side of Mob Mentality. Again, with the same situation, just throw everything in the kitchen sink all in this one attack and just hope for the best. They should be able to make it in terms of positioning, but they need to be careful because a lot of Radegast is trying to punish them. Almost a kill on the Doomfist there. Expansion almost caught out. And a big pop coming from Expansion. Expansion coming up huge with that Doomfist ulti. That might be enough to stop momentum. Guru doing his best to pop Dragon. And nobody able to contest, unfortunately. So Expansion taking matters into his own hands. And honestly, it really came down to a fraction of a second. Like a fraction of a second. Had Guru hit that last arrow, you know, on the Doomfist to punish him, because I believe his health was almost non-existent. And so it was really close. Again, those coin flip moments always happen. Expansion playing a very risky game to take matters into his own hands, but at the end of the day, Expansion gets the play that he needs, able to take out 2 of Mob, keeping them staggered off a point. So that's going to be it for the attacking side of Mob. Had a pretty good run. I'm sure they would have liked to see a little bit more, possibly just the second point to keep things close. Mob needs to come out of gate hyper aggressive. They need to be able to, it seems like Expansion might be on start of a little bit of a comeback phase, so Mob does need to be aware of some of the things that he might be pulling out to stop them. So it looks like Mob is going to rely a lot on Slush again, and Guru as well, to try and contest this expansion. Twiz coming up big with his Earth Shatters. Also with Cypher again, those hooks are going to have to be almost on point, exactly how they were in the first push on attacking side.
Stop the payload.
A good pick from Slush, taking out Dark. Will the res come in on Dark like it usually does? Big hook coming in from Cypher. D.Va trying to take the high ground on the terms of Radegast. So Choco Milk is down. Almost another pick for Cypher. It almost seems as though Sunset is getting a little bit more value than he should be. I mean, we'll see if Mob can take this spot, but that was definitely in the playbooks for Mob to win this fight. And now it's not so much anymore. Sunset doing a great job staying on objective, and really, it seems like momentum has kind of shifted, and Choco Milk getting the plays on Cypher. Cypher needing an extra little bit of oomph to help him. Choco Milk going big with the Zen, so again, turning around Twiz. Twiz is in a little bit of trouble here, needs to take the fight with either the Zen or the Widow. And unfortunately, Choco Milk getting the best of Mob Mentality, kind of playing the flip-flop. To me, it seems like this is the second time I've noticed that, you know, the Reinhardt on Radegast is getting a lot of value. Sunset is getting a lot of value basically just pushing on his own. And it doesn't seem like there's a strategy to really stop him from doing that, because even if you win the team fight, even if you win the DPS, and even if you win the healing battle, at the end of the day, somebody's still choosing and picking your objective. And so I think Mob is doing a good job covering their angles and killing the people who they need to kill, but you still need to get those people off the payload at the end of the day. And so Sunset has just been kind of uncontested, but the question remains to be seen, is it too much for Mob to handle all of those areas? But honestly, in my opinion, it's just a small adjustment. It's just a small adjustment to go back and just focus on that Reinhardt once everything is said and done. I do think it's a good call to be focusing everybody but him right now. But once everybody is focused and done with, you do need to address Sunset still. Twiz a little bit, falling out of position in a big combo. Oh, coming in from Amalu again with the three-man D.Va bombs. A nice coordinated effort. And so this is going to be hard to recontest, but definitely doable. A slow wipe from Slush, so Twiz, Guru, and Cypher are going to have to get it done. They're going to have to take this position, but I know Radegast is going to want to probably just run all the way down the center, not give Mob any space to work with, take the high ground against them. Cypher again coming in with the big hooks. Again, D.Va getting out once again. We've seen that consistently. D.Va barely living on the skin of her nose. Ulti coming through, last desperation effort. Both Transcendents coming on the side of both teams. Cypher doing a good job to contest. Big Earth Shatter coming from Twiz. D.Va demeched. Guru coming out with the last minute. Genji just to hopefully contest. And Mob Mentality stops the fire from 2 minutes right before. I mean, that was a very do or die situation if I've ever seen one. So Mob just needs to play it slow, calm down, focus on who they need to focus on. Again, you know that Expansion's love has been using the high ground. He's been using the high ground all game today. So if you take that gameplay away from him, you're careful with the D.Va bombs, because all that's happened so far is just the D.Va bombs have been initiating and they've been winning the team fights. So it looks like there's 2 fights starting. Maybe one on high ground, also one on point. I believe Cypher does demech Amalu. Anna kind of out in the open a little bit. She relocates back on the side of Radegast. Mob Mentality did a good job playing it patient, letting the enemy come to them. Cypher does get picked on the side, and so does Guru. Now we're able to take up the fight, so that was another fight that was there. Mob needs to commit to this fight if they want to have a chance. They have to. They know Radegast is coming. There's no way for them to be able to disengage. A huge 500 pin nano boost. Slush taking matters into his own hands. Able to stop the attack. So now they need somebody on point. Luckily, Cypher is there to come back. Slush can take the high ground again. He need a sunset, and again, focusing the Reinhardt, doing a little bit better than they had done before. Slush looking to reset here. Radegast has about 2 attacks under their belt if they get the next one going quickly. If they decide to stall a little bit, Cypher looking to hook somebody. And Guru going in on his D.Va. And he lets the D.Va get away, which is a smart call. He knows his team's regrouping. He knows he might be caught out of position just in case if he doesn't be too aggro. But Cypher needs to be careful because nobody let Cypher know. Is this Genji Blade going to be coming out from Guru? Is the question here. It is. He's diving the backline. Transcendence used against Guru's ulti. 3 down on the side of Mob Mentality. And unfortunately, it's not enough. Is this going to be it for the push of Mob Mentality? It's looking like it. A bomb to stall, and unfortunately does not make it in time. A very close bomb. Maybe would have been a little bit better, but unfortunately, Mob Mentality does not come out on top this time. Radegast is able to take the set 1-3. Malu with the D.Va bombs. Again, we saw this twice from the 3-man triple kill that he got, and it's just coordinating effectively. And Twiz maybe a little bit out further than, you know, he maybe should have been. But again, it's just less of a mistake on Twiz and more of a just great play on Malu, really, to just read the Reinhardt's positioning, just to be able to put him in that spot where he's unable to respond because the Earthshatter is going to hit him from behind. So very good play on Amalu. Again, always barely living by the skin of his teeth. I'm sure Mob Mentality would have loved to lock him down the 3 or 4 times where he was barely escaping. But overall, a good map set. A very good contentious set between the two. So we're going to wrap up with the rest of the teams, going into a little bit of the recap, and then that'll be it for our CGL. Thank you everybody for watching. Be sure to follow our social media at Mob Mentality GG if you enjoyed the content. You can also catch us on our Discord server posted in the link below. As always, this is Boomtown, and I'll see you guys on game day.